Sophie, thank you. Hello, good evening from Look North. It's Wednesday, the 1st of February. So here's a question. Did you go to work today? Thousands were on the streets of our cities as teachers and others walk out for the day. Mark's been in South Yorkshire.
I'm in Sheffield, where thousands of teachers have joined other public sector workers on strike to demand a pay rise.
We'll have the latest analysis and hear your views on the strike. Also tonight, the popular coach driver forced off the road for 5 years. Don't bottle up your feelings, he warns. We check out the fab fashion swap shop in Leeds, which is all about leaving loneliness behind. Amanda has been bagging a bargain.
Volunteers have spent months sorting through tons of donated clothes ready to be gifted to anyone who walks through the door.
Mild and windy, often cloudy, but with some bright or sunny intervals in places. That's the forecast over the next few days, but if you want more details, join me very shortly.
Welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us. So January's gone, but is it still a winter of discontent? Right across the region, picket lines sprung up today in front of schools, universities, government offices and railway stations. Among the unions who have taken action today are teachers who belong to the National Education Union, members of the University and College Union, which represents some lecturers and higher education support staff, civil servants from the Public and Commercial Services Union who work in government offices, for example, job centres, and of course, train drivers in the ASLEF Union. Well, tonight, we're going to focus on the teacher strike, as we know that's meant many of you have had to change your plans. In a moment, I'll be talking to a teacher about the pressures on life in the profession, and our political editor, James Vincent, will be here with up-to-date analysis of what's been happening and how long it might last. But first, there have been big rallies in Leeds, York and Sheffield, from where Mark Ansell sent us this report.
First of all, this is the biggest strike of teachers we've seen for a very, very long time.
They turned out instead of heading in. Thousands of teachers joined other public sector workers on strike to demand a pay rise. Teachers say sky-high inflation is having an impact on their students and on them.
Cost of living is going up. Obviously, our wages haven't gone up. That puts a big strain on in being an individual teacher. I have a young family to support as well.
We see the knock-off day to day where we're buying breakfast and bringing it in for the children. Like we're spending £10 or £20 a week to bring in food for the children to have, because that funding is gone and the staff are gone and the retention is really poor. So the knock-on is that the kids are all suffering.
The Department for Education has offered most teachers a 5% pay rise, but the National Education Union wants pay to go up above inflation. The government says that is not realistic.
I think that's fair. I think we're looking for a middle ground. You know, we're not looking for tons and tons of money, but we're looking for inflation, pay rises that match the fact that we're paying far, far more for everything at the moment.
Four trade unions joined the demo at Barker's Pool, but the focus was on the teachers' strike over pay.
The government looks the other way.
The turnout is absolutely fantastic. I believe we've got over 6,000 people here. There's a huge amount of support. Pay has dropped by over 20% in the last 10 years. It is vital that we stop the hemorrhaging of talent.
Tell him, save our school!
Teachers in Yorkshire are due to go on strike again at the end of this month and twice in March. This dispute, like the others, seems a long way from resolution. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Well, away from the noise, the rally and the mood on the picket line, I sat down with Faria Hussain, a secondary school and sixth form teacher from Sheffield. She has a young family and has been teaching for 15 years. She says the job has become more demanding in recent times, and today's industrial action is not just about pay.
I feel that the current education system is failing our young people, it's failing our children, it's just not fit for purpose. We've got an issue with teacher recruitment and retention. Just alone last year, for example, there's been a dip in applications by 40%. I qualified in 2008, and if you said to me at that time, is this a profession that you want to do for life? I would have said yes. If you ask me that question now, would you be in this profession in 5 years? I can't answer that question. And that really saddens me because it's a job that I am really passionate about.
What do you say to those who say, or the government who says, look, we just can't afford it?
I don't think that's true. It's a political decision that the government have chosen to make. They have decided not to adequately fund the education system.
Do you worry, though, about the strike action and the impact on young people's lives in terms of their education?
Yes, definitely, because it is having an impact. Not that it's going to have an impact, it's actually having an impact on young people's lives because, you know, we've got the excessive workload, we have got class sizes that have never been this big.
Are you aware of teachers who are in need of support?
I know of teachers that are visiting food banks, relying on food banks. I know of teachers that have taken up second jobs. And I know supermarkets now that are paying their employees more to stack shelves.
So you have the strike action on Wednesday. Do you think the government's likely to take any notice?
I hope so. They have to. Like I said, it's a moral duty now for us to stand up and say enough is enough. And it's not just teachers. My question is, who is not taking industrial action? What organisation is there that is not taking industrial action?
And if they don't listen, are you prepared to escalate that action? What about if it goes on?
Yes, we are. They must listen.
Faria Hussain talking to me a little earlier, so lots to chew over, and unless things change, it's a story that we're going to be coming back to because teachers, as you heard there, potentially planning more walkouts along with more strikes by nurses and ambulance workers. Well, our political editor James is here. James, are we like to see, well, first of all, I suppose, what's the government's position on all of this?
Yeah, we're not likely to see any changes anytime soon. The government sort of says it wants to keep on negotiating. Gillian Keegan, the Education Secretary, said that she's met 5 times with the unions. Rishi Sunak in Prime Minister's questions today saying that that teachers have had their highest pay rise in 30 years. I will point you to the BBC website, actually. There's some great pages on there that tells you exactly how teachers are paid, what they've had and what they haven't done. And as Mark said in Barker's pool there, most teachers have been offered 5%, but the unions say because inflation is running at 10%, that's actually a pay cut rather than a pay rise. This is what Gillian Keegan said today when she was asked about who should be apologising to parents and their children.
I think the unions should apologise probably to parents, but I think what I'm doing is making sure that I do everything I can to try and have constructive discussions with the unions. What's clear is we cannot offer inflation or above inflation pay rises. If you try and compensate for inflation, we know where that ends, because we've seen that in the past. You end up in a spiral of continuing inflationary rises and wages have to rise to keep up and then inflationary rises. It is economically incoherent. So we will not go down that route.
This, James, is the biggest day of strike action in, 15 years. We've seen plenty of picket lines today. We've seen empty railway stations. Any sign that anything is going to be settled?
I don't think so just yet. It is the biggest day of strike action in 15 years. Lots of people sort of comparing it to the 70s and things. We're nowhere near the amount of working days lost for strike action as we were 30, 40 years ago. There are 60,000 fewer people in Yorkshire and the Humber in unions, members of the union, since compared to 1995. But that said, our part of the world is one of the strongest unionised places. So if you look at the average percentage of union members in England, it's 21% amongst the workforce. In South Yorkshire, it's over 30%. And in South Yorkshire, over 60% of people have a union presence in their workplace. So that's why you saw such large crowds at Barker's Pool where Mark was today in South Yorkshire. So I don't think that that we're going to see the end of this just yet.
Briefly, do you think we'll see an escalation of what we see today, though?
Well, we've already got strike dates planned. We know that the teachers have got other dates planned. We know that other unions have got dates planned. I think what you'll see in the coming weeks and months is unions coming together and maybe having more combined strike action, heading towards potentially a general strike at some stage.
James, thank you very much. James, our political editor there, thank you. Now, today in Wetherby, children without school to go to took up the offer of a free PE class. Their parents went along too, so Olivia was able to find out their views about today's walkout.
Go! Down by the river in Wetherby, striking didn't mean slacking for children or their parents. Personal trainer and mum, Melanie Copcutt, turned PE teacher for the morning to put all ages through their paces.
Some of the year groups are closing, and I think, the mums are up against it and the dads with them being on devices and trying to do a bit of homeschooling today. So it's just a great way to release some energy, have some fun and get some fresh air. It's a good start to the day.
The free morning included games organised by Kickstart Camps, which usually operate in the holidays. Some of these parents had to miss work as a result of the industrial action.
It has impacted me. I should really be at work, but I'm looking after the kids.
And do you support teachers striking?
Yes and no. It's a good thing, but it's also impacting on the children. So the children aren't actually getting any work done.
So I'll be with the kids in the morning until my wife back from work, so I'm gonna switch up.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to strike and they're doing it for a reason. My daughter's just having a great time and Mel is just brilliant putting this on. It's fabulous, really good fun.
Yeah, it was great. I liked it.
And what's better, coming here or going to school?
Coming here.
Yeah, what are you boys going to do for the rest of the day?
I'm going to Will's house. I'm going to do some more sketching. Play some video games.
Haven't you got any homework to do today?
No, just chill.
With more strikes planned, Mel knows her services may be needed again.
I'm in favour of it. The teachers, they're doing what they need to do to raise awareness, and anything that we can do to help and support and just keep the children moving and let them do what they need to do, then we're here for that.
Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Wetherby.
Yeah, an interesting range of views there. We'll have more on the strikes tonight at 10:30. You're watching Wednesday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme, the young neurodiverse actor staging his own one-man show. Now, he's a larger-than-life Barnsley coach driver who spent more than 20 years in the trade, but after a seizure on a family holiday last year, he had to give up his driving licence. Dave Mills, there he is behind me, will spend at least 5 years off the road and away from his driving passion. He was understandably devastated and on the verge of closing his coach firm, but he's kept it going and is now speaking out about his mental health struggle to help others open up about theirs. Abby has been to meet him today at the firm's Barnsley Market coffee shop.
I was up at 6 o'clock every morning holiday. I was going for a walk, went for a walk, stopped for a coffee in this garage, collapsed on the floor. Next thing I knew, I ended up in a Spanish hospital, and then I got a letter from the doctor saying that it's not vertigo, we've determined you've had a seizure, and unfortunately that means that you can't drive your car for 6 months and you can't drive your coach for 5 years. And being told that I can't drive my coach, I thought my life were over.
So how were you feeling at that point?
Horrendous. I were in floods of tears. I wouldn't speak to anybody. I wouldn't speak to the drivers. I didn't go to the yard for 6 weeks. Customers were coming to see me down at the shop and I was saying, I can't carry on. I'm not doing the holidays, I'm not doing the coaches anymore. I told the staff they're all going to be out of jobs. I just felt horrendous. The worst feeling in my life. Felt like I lost my legs.
You put a post on Facebook talking really honestly and openly about how you were feeling. Why did you do that?
I lost a close friend through suicide just not long back, and I felt guilty about that. I felt guilty that I'd told my customers I was finishing. And I've always been very honest with my customers and my friends, and I was lying to people. And I just wanted to get it off my chest and open up.
So how did you get through that?
So we got chance of a little coffee shop on Barnsley Market. Customers started coming, I learned how to make drinks, people started talking to me. And I was still not in a good place. I was still telling people I was finishing the holiday company. But I think just started talking to people, and then people started opening up to me saying they were having a rough time. Here you go, bring them over, you're all right.
Thank you very much.
How's your knee? Since then, the amount of people who's contacted me, been to the store to say thank you, men who's come and just cuddled me and said, Dave, I'm in that same position, I feel horrendous, and you opening up about it has made me feel open about it. And we're now just working with the council, we're trying to get kind of a Tuesday afternoon thing where men can just come sit down, have a free coffee if they want. It's not about buying a coffee, and just have a chat, talk and try and open up about it.
So speaking out has really helped you?
Speaking out made a massive difference. I advise anybody just to, not just publicly to everybody, but just tell your friends, your family. It does make a difference, just getting it off your chest, the way it lifted off. It's difficult. It's difficult as a man to admit that you've got a problem. You feel ashamed, you don't feel like a man, and it is hard, really hard.
Dave Miller's there talking to Abby Jaola. OK, let's get some news in brief now. Police are appealing for witnesses following a fatal collision on the M1. The incident happened at southbound junction 39 yesterday morning. It was initially thought 3 trucks were involved, but police now say it was only one. A male lorry driver in his 60s was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are urging anyone with any information to get in touch. A man's been taken to hospital after a tanker overturned on the A1M in West Yorkshire this morning, leaking chemicals across the carriageway. The HGV overturned into the central reservation just before 8, causing a section of the motorway between junctions 40 and 42 northbound and junction 42 and 41 southbound to close. National Highways says the closure will continue into this evening to allow for a complex recovery and specialist clean-up work to take place. The trial of the former Sheffield Hallam MP Jared O'Mara has been told that his cocaine habit was an open secret in the city. Mr O'Mara is accused of submitting fraudulent expenses claims totalling nearly £30,000 to the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority when he was an MP. His co-accused, Gareth Arnold, admitted taking cocaine himself at Mr O'Mara's flat and said he'd seen bags of the drug in the bathroom. Both men and a third defendant deny the fraud charges against them. Council taxpayers in Rotherham are facing rises of around 86 pence a week as the council struggles to balance its budget for next year. The council says even with the rises, it will still have a £6 million funding gap in its financial plan. It says energy costs and inflation have taken a toll, but it will still invest an extra £12 million in adult social care to help ease the burden on the NHS. Now, an amateur football club in South Yorkshire is appealing for the return of a tractor which was stolen on Monday. The tractor is used by volunteers to maintain 10 acres of pitches at Kiverton Park Club and Wales High School. The club says it's heartbroken at the loss. Unique and irreplaceable gold and silver artworks may have been melted down by thieves after they were stolen from the assay office in Sheffield. The smash and grab happened on January the 15th. The thieves broke into the office, which tests the purity of precious metals on Beulah Road, and stole 14 objects, which were on display to mark the anniversary of the assay's opening back in 1773.
They just came, brazen as anything, cut through the fencing, at which point the alarms were triggered straight away. But they'd obviously cased the job out. They knew exactly which shutter they were going to cut through, straight through the glass, and they were actually on site for less than 4 minutes and in the building for no more than 45 seconds.
Next tonight, it's the 1st of February, so how did your New Year's resolutions work out? Well, let's hear it for Dave Thorpe, who was morbidly obese and has managed to lose enough weight to put his type 2 diabetes into remission. He was helped by the City of York Council and the social enterprise Healthwise to overhaul his mental and physical health. Kathy Booth went along to meet him.
How does that feel?
Good.
Yeah, still talk to me?
Yeah.
Changing your diet and losing weight is difficult. It's something Dave Thorpe from York knows all too well. But he is a success story, having lost 5 stone in 6 months. A filmmaker, Dave has documented his weight loss. At almost 22 stone, his doctor made it clear that change had to happen.
I had a very high blood pressure, I was morbidly obese, I was type 2 diabetic, I had high cholesterol, I had everything, basically I didn't have much longer to go, and it was a shock wake-up call.
Dave was referred to York Council's health trainer team, who gave him diet and lifestyle advice. For the council, investing in health is money well spent.
So we look as a council as looking at preventative health. So by saving people like Dave and other people like that going into long-term health conditions, later on it's just going to cost more money. So if we can help earlier with some small money investment in the first place, that's going to help the long-term picture.
Support also came from personal trainer Kelly.
Let's keep it going. How hard has Dave worked? He's been an absolute superstar. My great phrase is motion is lotion, rest is rust. We've all got to keep moving. It's so important to do it.
Dave's motion has been lotion, and since losing weight, his type 2 diabetes has gone into remission. Diabetes UK estimates there are more than 320,000 people diagnosed with the condition in Yorkshire and the Humber. And for them, Dave has some words of encouragement.
If they're not happy with where they are, don't stay in that unhappy place. but look at some opportunities, because there are people out there who will help us and will, improve the quality of our lives.
Kathy Booth, BBC Look North, York.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, next tonight, as you know, we love showing off new talent on Look North. Now, Luke Byford, there he is. He's been treading the boards since he was young. Now, at the age of 22, he's written and stars in his own one-man show. Luke describes himself as an autistic actor, but says being neurodiverse should be no barrier to anyone in the arts. Heidi is with him now in Sheffield. Heidi.
Well, welcome to the Montgomery Theatre here in Sheffield. We're down in the basement in the studio space. It's quite an intimate venue. There's only room for about 80 people in this audience. A perfect spot for one man to launch his first production, which is exactly what Luke Byford has done. Not only are you going to perform this, you've written it and produced it as well, Luke. Now, you are only 22, but you're trying to look 72 because today you are Roger, the only character in the play. Tell us a bit about Roger.
Roger is an ex-accomplished actor who is put into a rest home after his wife passes away, and he's interviewed by a student from university about his time upon the stage.
But he doesn't speak like you do now, does he? So give us a little snitch of Roger then.
So Roger talks in a very northern accent, and as you can tell, the whole character comes together as soon as I sort of look down, and everything. It's all in the mannerisms and everything.
Definitely a 72-year-old transformed. So Roger has autism, yes, as do you in real life. So why was it important for you to reflect that in your first play?
Well, I always think it's important to put a little bit of yourself into a character, but that's basically the reason why I chose to make the character autistic. But I also wanted to show that we're not all the same. Not all autistic people are the same, and I think in the media we see a lot of autistic people that I don't know how to explain it, that are the same.
There's a lot of generalisation.
Yes, there's a lot of generalisation.
So you're right at the beginning of your career, Luke, but you've already got a few roles under your belt. What have you done so far?
So I've played Dane twice, once for Tag Life and then once for 1702 Productions, and then I've just finished doing Stickman at the Leeds Playhouse.
So if there are people watching who have autism, what would your message to them be?
If you believe it, you can achieve it. I don't think autism should hold you back in any way, but it's the same with anything. If you generally talk yourself out of doing something, you're never going to do it. So it's always good to just do it.
Fantastic, Luke. Thanks ever so much. Good luck with the play. It can be seen here at the theatre for one night only on the 11th of February, and he's also looking to produce a film too, so one to look out for.
Indeed. So, Heidi in Sheffield, thank you very much, and the very best of luck to Luke as well. Now, finally tonight, out with the old and in with the new. Yes, a woman from Leeds started a wardrobe fashion called Kind of You. But it's much more than just an excuse to spruce up your closet. It's all about making new friends and leaving loneliness behind. Amanda Harper picks out something free and fabulous.
Whatever your size, whatever your style, your fashion fix starts here. But this event is about much more than updating your wardrobe.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
I know, that's such a
And
nice
it's new.
compliment.
Hi, my name's Bonnie and I created Kind of You.
27-year-old Bonnie started the clothes swap a couple of years ago.
This might also work for I love fashion and I love clothes, but the clothes are more of a vehicle to tackle loneliness, really. I moved to Leeds from York and I didn't have my own gang of friends. I really wanted to meet more women particularly, and to get them together, and told them to bring a bag of clothes and we were all going to share it and go through it, and we ended up bonding so much, making really good mates, and it just escalated so much that I was like, we're going to have to find a bigger venue, we can't do this in my kitchen anymore. So we came here to Sheaf Street, and since then it's just gone from strength to strength, really.
Little bralette underneath.
Yeah, I love that.
Volunteers have spent months sorting through tons of donated clothes ready to be gifted to anyone who walks through the door.
There's going to be great tunes on, there's just going to be a friendly environment, and yeah, hopefully they'll communicate with each other and make friends, or if not, they'll definitely leave with some amazing clothes.
I think that it will work as well because everybody's chatting, you talk to people when you're looking for stuff.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to get to know new people, and I've come with some friends from home today, but I'm excited to get to chat to people as I'm walking up and down.
It's a dress from Zara, it's just an absolutely gorgeous pattern. And even if it doesn't fit me, I love the pattern, so I'm going to turn it instantly if it doesn't. But it's so pretty.
I've got these 1970s trousers.
And I've got this leopard print dress.
Hi, we've got so many items of clothes, and they were destined for landfill.
Fabulous. The next event takes place in York. What better way to mix fashion and friendship? And it doesn't cost the earth. Amanda Harper, BBC Look North, Leeds.
What a great idea. I reckon Paul and I could do something like that, couldn't we, for us? Two middle-aged guys.
Well, hey, I'll wipe that smile off your face. I've been sent a picture that everybody needs to see. You know it's been windy in Sheffield today. And Cowboy Squirrel wants to know whether he'd been electrocuted or caught in a force 10 gale in Sheffield.
Unkempt. It was breezy, Paul, not windy.
A very flattering picture there. I love that. Right, let's have a look at the weather pictures you've sent in over the last 24 hours. That's a lovely one in Bridlington Harbour. Sunrise around about 8 o'clock this morning. The next one is a beautiful rainbow there in Halifax, with the Wayne House Tower there on the right-hand side. And what is going on? How can we have blossom out in Castle Howard at the beginning of February? But that's exactly what Maz saw there. The addresses are on your screen now if you want to get your pictures on the telly now. Over the next 24 hours, it's going to stay windy, often mild. There'll be some brighter or sunny spells, especially towards the coast, further west across the Pennines, a little drizzle. But you can see the number of isobars there on the chart means it will stay windy. But if you like the clear blue skies, they will be behind this cold front, ready for Sunday and Monday. Lots of sunshine by then. But in the short term, there's certainly been a lot of cloud across the Pennines where we've seen some patchy rain and drizzle at times. And I think if anything, the cloud will thicken further east. We'll see just a little drizzle and patchy rain spreading eastwards overnight, but at least it's going to be frost-free. We'll see lowest temperatures coming in at 7 or 8 degrees. So tomorrow's high water times in Scarborough at 1:47, Bridlington at 2:22. So a fairly cloudy start, a damp start, but any drizzle will become confined to the tops of the Pennines further east. It soon becomes dry. A little bit of brightness coming through, a little bit of sunshine if you're lucky, and that will lift temperatures up to 11 or 12 degrees. Further ahead then, Friday, very similar, mostly dry, rather cloudy, some sunshine towards the coast, lifting temperatures to 12 or 13 degrees. Similar day on Saturday, but look at that, blue skies all the way Sunday and into early next week, and that's the forecast.
You haven't got a comb I can borrow out of you.
Yeah, well, you need one. It's all right.
Do people still have combs these days? That's as far as to go. I'll be back at 10:30. We'll see you then. Good night.